Out here in northern Arizona, the landscape doesn't separate itself into neat destinations. What looks like empty desert on a map is often just the space between older routes, forgotten landmarks, and places that don't fully explain themselves. This time, we're stopping at one of those places, Johnson Crater. All right, now I'm at my first turn, the route to our geological anomaly. Somewhere up this road, one of many crisscrossing forest roads back here. Probably have a good mile or two to go down this thing, but as you know me, I like to film a lot of the drive just because it's pretty and fun, but also it helps others, I think, know what the conditions are like in case you wanted to try to venture out and do this. So far, every road I've been on back here has been suitable, in my opinion, for any type of vehicle. I don't have any concerns. A lot of people are towing really big campers back here and camping back here, so if they can get back here, I imagine most can, but the road is getting a little bit more rough as we head back towards Johnson Crater. I decided to kind of comment on the road again, coming down through like a switchback. It looks like down into a wash. It gets a little rocky. There were some ruts and then some deep cut ruts from some tires and little muddy. Not like yesterday's mud, it's kind of dried out, but definitely I could see enough to see that after a fresh rain, like if you're not in a four-wheel drive, you could have problems. Do I still think a passenger car could get through here if done very carefully and slowly? Probably. The actual, like here's the problem though, up here maybe. I don't really, if you have the right line, you're probably okay, but you see these ruts, you could see that rains have washed right down through here. Didn't really need that much clearance, but you do get spots like that, so if done carefully, you're probably gonna be able to do it. Would I do it? If I had no other choice, I probably would, and I don't know if there's a better way to go, but it's starting to get a little bit more rough. And actually up here, it's actually getting rough enough and steep enough where I'm gonna actually, I think I'll put on, I haven't even put on four-wheel drive, I just realized. Like right here might be an issue for some, like this spot right here. And I might spin out myself if I don't have it in four-wheel drive. Let's see. See? Just to show you. This truck's pretty capable, but you could even see I slipped a little bit right there. I shouldn't do that. I don't want to damage the road or cause more problems, but just trying to illustrate for safety's sake. I mean, like one spot like that could screw up your plans if you're not ready. And I'm gonna guess the roads probably change all the time with the weather. So whether it looks good now and you're seeing this a year from now, it could be a whole different ball game. So that's why I am kind of hesitant to say do this, do that, or make recommendations. It's just it's so subjective. I was like, that crater's right on my map. I don't see anything, and sure enough, there. Whoa, that is actually, I can't even see the bottom from exactly where I'm at. I mean, I've seen pictures of it. I've actually seen some other videos of this too. And I want to say someone made a similar remark about it being deeper than they thought too. And sure enough, let's get out and see this thing. This will be a great place to fly the drone too, so we can kind of get a nice aerial shot of this thing. The Johnson Crater. No like good history with it other than we're gonna surmise as to what it might be. Not man-made though. All right, so this is what I saw like when I just pulled up, this big hole in the ground. And I've seen satellite imagery of it, and it's very circular. So, and that's part of, that'll get into some of the hypotheses or theories, I guess, that people have, probably hypotheses. But holy moly, that is crazy deep. Yeah, we're gonna definitely need the drone. It's almost like I'm at the Mogollon Rim or something, peering over the edge here. But you can see the cliff here, and I'm just gonna do a pan best I can here. And we'll kind of go all the way around, you know, back to where I'm kind of standing here. This is a lot larger. I was not expecting it to be this big. Trying to get a better vantage point from foot level. I mean, it's a sheer drop from where I'm standing down there, and you can kind of even get a better look now. See that? Like if you're anywhere on the rim, most of the spots are almost a straight drop down. Now a rock climber or somebody could probably easily scale that, I imagine, somebody with those skills, but that ain't me. But you could see the rocks have, you know, kind of fallen in down to the bottom, and it's just very overgrown. I wouldn't want to be down there. I imagine that's Snake City. That's what I think. But basically, I'm gonna get the drone out, but while I'm flying around, maybe I can give you guys the what people think this is. I've heard 3 explanations, and then I'll give you my opinion. And I don't know if anybody has like absolute proof one way or another of what it is, but let's try it. So number 1, I think most of it stems from this thing being a very nice circular shape. So some have hypothesized that it's actually a meteorite crater or impact crater. I don't know if I buy that. It doesn't seem to fit, like, just for me, I think, because just the way these sheer walls go down like that, I don't know what, maybe if I knew what type of rock this was. Some of it looks volcanic in nature. I don't know if there's any limestone or something that's kind of hinting towards maybe a different theory, but it doesn't feel like that to me. I don't know why, but that's one explanation people have. The next is a volcanic crater. I think just because you've got, once again, that circular shape, you know, it's not a perfect circle, but it's a pretty dang good circle. Something that does kind of remind one of a volcanic crater, and maybe lending a little bit more credence to that theory. Geologists out there might know this, but this does look like some kind of basalt to me. It's like dark black rock. Not as porous as some that I've seen, but I'm getting out of my league a little bit when I'm talking about rocks, so I'm gonna be careful. But that almost does not look like, you know, the kind of basalt, the porous rock that I oftentimes see. And it does have kind of a greenish gray hue to it, probably more likely from things growing on it as opposed to the actual rock's color, I'm guessing. But maybe some kind of, like, I don't know the word, I'm losing the word now. Some kind of, not moss, but some kind of thing growing on it, maybe. But anyway, volcanic crater. I would say, to me, that's more feasible than a meteorite impact, in my opinion. And finally, maybe the more boring of all of the ones, but the one that I personally am leaning towards, is just a sinkhole. What would help me know more about that is maybe what type of rock this is, because sinkholes, I think, are essentially caves. So it would have been hollow underground, and then I guess through the sheer weight and, you know, the erosion of the rock underground, the sheer weight would just collapse downward. Now, why in such a perfect circle like this, I couldn't tell you. I don't know if that's a common feature of sinkholes, but one place that I do know is a verified sinkhole that we filmed on the Cactus Atlas in Arizona in similar terrain is pretty far from here, but that would be Montezuma's Well near Montezuma Castle. And I'm trying to recall it from memory, but it is pretty circular, I think. Smaller, actually, I would say, than this in terms of the diameter, but still, and that one has water in it. that comes from underground in the Mogollon Rim. This is completely dry. But this, to me, my intuition is telling me a sinkhole. What I don't know, what might make it easier to know if you were a geologist is this rock a hint like of the type of rock you would find at a sinkhole, right? Like is it some kind of limestone or some kind of rock that would have allowed the formation of a cave? Am I thinking about it correctly in the first place? And and then I guess if so, that might lend more credence to that theory. But then I'm still curious about why circle in nature? Why not something more, I guess, like just oddly shaped? It just seems, weird that it's just so circular. And I can see why. I'm not knocking anybody that thinks it's a meteorite impact or a volcanic crater. Like, I couldn't give you facts to argue against you if that's your theory, if I'm being honest. So, but anyway, this is a lot cooler, way cooler than I thought it was gonna be. The drone flight was cool. Doing it with a drone is the way to go if you have one and you come here. And I can confirm, because I play by the rules, you're not technically supposed to fly over 400 feet above ground level from wherever you stand or wherever you took off from when you're flying a drone. Now granted, you could fly along with the terrain. If the terrain climbs an elevation, you can continue to stay at 400 feet above that, but that's the law for flying a drone. But I can report that I was able to get up. I did not get to 400 feet. I was getting close, but I was able to get most of this in frame, I think. I could really see the curvature well a couple times, but I was right at that ceiling. So I wanted to report that to other people that like to fly their drones, that you can get some cool shots, and that 400 feet up is just enough, I think. Just enough, just barely, to get most of this thing in frame from up there. So, like I said, I know some people are like, oh, who cares, just do what you want, but I'm on video too. So there are drone trolls out there that are looking to get people in trouble. So that's why I don't. I like to conduct my business legally and correctly, and to be a good example. So anyway, I just thought I'd make that note. The best face of this thing is like kind of where we're standing, where you get the most dramatic looking edges, like basically starting over there, coming all the way around to there. There's one particular shot I got with my drone that I think is gonna hopefully illustrate that well. And then over on that side, it's still pretty well pronounced, but it's from up above, like this adds a lot more contrast, and you really can see that curvature really nicely on this side where you're gonna park anyway. And I'd say this is the best, probably one of the best viewpoints that you could ask for. But it looks like people do walk. I don't know if there's a trail that goes all the way around. It wouldn't be an established official trail, but suppose if you wanted to walk there, I mean, this terrain, we bushwhacked through it, so just watch out for snakies. And I can see if you really wanted to go down in it, I would say your best entry point is right over there. It looks like the clearest of vegetation. You are going to be scrambling on rocks, but I don't see any evidence of doing any hardcore rock climbing. It almost looks like you can almost sense that there's foot traffic on that slope for people that might want to go down in there, but I don't know what you'd get from it really, other than, I guess it could be a cool view looking back up to where we're standing, but other than that, not for me. And now is the part where I do a YouTuber thing and I say, comment down below and let us know what you think this is. Is it a meteor impact or meteorite impact? Is it a remnant of a volcanic crater, or do you think it's a sinkhole? Nobody's answer is necessarily wrong, but I would like to hear your, if you have reasoning behind it, I would be interested. And especially if you're a geologist and that would be the sweetest thing. That'd be cool. So anyway, let's get back. Now we're gonna go seek out human history again. That exceeded my expectations, actually. Because you could watch other people's videos. You could watch my video, and I don't think it like is going to give away the size or the depth like you would get by actually seeing it with your own eyes. It's just sometimes it's hard to capture the scale of things on video. We'll see how it came out. But I would say that was, I had decent expectations. I thought it would be cool, but it's much cooler in person than I accounted for. So big thumbs up, highly recommend. Even if you don't care about the railroad history, it might be worth a stop to just check it out. It's easy to get to, and you could turn around and go back if you didn't want to go do the rest of the stuff we're doing next. In fact, I think I actually see the bed of the rail. We're going to be walking the old bed out to the train tunnel. I think I have a visual on it. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on the GoPro. It's off to the right, probably out of frame at this point, but I bet you that's where the tunnel is. At least on my map, that's exactly where I would expect it to be. So we'll hold off on that though. That's going to be the pinnacle of today's. That's the adventure in the adventure today. Although it's been very adventure-y so far. The adventure factor is a lot higher, especially with that steel dam. That was a tricky one to get to and to find, but we did it. The rest I know for sure where we're going, so I have very little concern. So here, I'm looking for basically just a concrete pad, and I guess to the right actually is the road that goes out to the train tunnel, or as far as we can drive to it. I want to say is that this thing is probably right over here somewhere. I'm just gonna park and we'll look at this on foot. There's not much to see for this next thing, but there it is, I see it. The story is actually really cool though. In fact, I could probably just drive right up to it. I don't know if you could see a concrete pad here. That's the remnant of the thing that we're looking for here. We won't spend too much time on this one. So next time, we continue deeper into the Ash Fork area with abandoned railroad sites, the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway Welch Station, and a hike out to the historic Johnson Tunnel, a remote relic from the 1880s railroad era hidden deep in Johnson Canyon. Join us next time here on the Cactus Atlas. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.